Filmanalyst reviews M. Night Shyamalan's Split. I always spoil the twist of a new Shyamalan movie for myself before I see it. I have a certain affinity to be fascinated by twists that could lead me to judge a movie a little higher than I actually might have. The Sixth Sense, not that it was ever bad, was the film that showed me this, and I won't make the mistake again. The Visit, Shyamalan's last ever, barring its twist, was a rancid, annoying film, and I caught that. I went into Split knowing full well what would happen, ready to feel the superiority of my mastery over the games the movie was playing. And I walked out joyous at the fact that even without said twist, Split is kind of fascinating, earnest, and beautifully intense. The reviews of The Visit called it too early, but now M. Night Shyamalan has returned to his previous success. Welcome back. Split focuses on Casey, Anya Taylor-Joy, who is kidnapped along with two other girls and is kept in captivity by a young man named Kevin, played by James McAvoy. Kevin has dissociative identity disorder, which means he has multiple personalities going on in his body, each of which can randomly take the spotlight. So what we have is a thriller where the captive can't control whether or not he's a 9-year-old child named Hedvig or a pedophile named Dennis, or the 21 other personalities that embody his body. Hands down, that is a really interesting idea for a movie. Good job on that, Shyamalan. Okay, now that you've listened to that, I'd like to say I'm about to spoil this movie. The reason? Split is a film that is a good movie on its own, but a great movie when you consider its implications in the genre it actually resides in. Split might have been marketed as a horror movie, and it is a pretty solid thriller, but whenever you get down to it, it's basically a superhero film told from the perspective of victims who are often ignored by the stories themselves. Kevin has in fact supernatural powers, which can manifest themselves as one of his identities. These powers allow him to climb up walls, be incredibly strong, and his skin to be especially rough and unstoppable. Where does this lead? Well, Split is sort of a sequel to M. Night Shyamalan's best film and contender for one of my favorite superhero films, Unbreakable. Split is an origin story for a villain in that universe. The film might seem overly earnest and hamly written, which is a problem for Shyamalan, when he's making movies that expressly exist in the real world. In the context of a superhero film and the accepted aesthetics, you can get away with a lot more of this stuff. Take Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, for instance. Those films, of course, were silly, but they were allowed to be because the silliness allowed for these larger-than-life characters to blend ever more into the background of the modern-day context that they existed in. This allowance of more silly concepts allows Shyamalan's usually hard-to-take dialogue to become believable, almost as if it has just been torn from the comic books that one used to read as a child. Shyamalan does the concept of the superhero-connected universe one better, and finally pulls off the darkness that Zack Snyder and his cohorts have been trying to fake in the DC Extended Universe, and he's making it look easy. The two villains that have populated the Pittsburgh Extended Universe, let's call it that, are both villains, but they aren't maniacal psychopaths like Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, nor are they overly powerful leaders with many henchmen that simply want to destroy the world as in every Marvel movie. Shyamalan's villains are people full of pain and suffering, just like most of the real villains of the world. Not to empathize, just simply to dimensionalize. Of all the universes, I take Kevin, a villain named the Horde, and Mr. Glass, still a high point for Samuel L. Jackson, over the incarnations of more popular villains that are present in alternate universes. James McAvoy putting in way more work than he necessarily needed to into each personality, as well as just being scary when the Horde finally emerges, puts Split above that pack too. For as much of the dialogue is taken care of by the present genre, some of it probably wouldn't have sold this well if it weren't for McAvoy putting everything he has into the performance. This was the same for Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson almost 17 years ago. The actresses on display here, Anya Taylor-Joy, so great in the best horror film of last year, The Witch, and Haley Lou Richardson of The Edge of 17, make the best of some of their more oddly phrased lines. Taylor-Joy's character has a flashback arc going on here that gets downright fascinating once the effect of it is truly shown, and she proves her versatility shown in The Witch was no fluke. She shines in this. Split might not come off to be a favorite film of the year, but as the first great genre superhero movie of the year, this is a show that can't be denied that title. The writing is back to the quality it contained in Unbreakable, the direction is back to that point too, and so seems Shyamalan. Here's to Unbreakable 2, please. I give Split a 9 out of 10.